All right. So thank you for taking the time to be with us today for the Master of Arts in Music Industry Information session. We have a lot of great content. And before we start, I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. My name's Omar Perez. I'm an online enrollment advisor for UOnline and have the wonderful opportunity of working with many of our prospective music students. And in just a moment, my co-host Andrea Jimenez will be on to go over a few other details with you. I hope that today's presentation will assist you in making the best decision for yourself. But before we begin, there are some housekeeping items. So this information session will be about 45 minutes long. And if you arrive late, have to take a break or leave early, no worries. A recording will be available to you after the session. And also, we want to make sure that the content's relevant to you. So if you have any specific questions for our panelists, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom. And now I'm excited to have the chance to introduce my co-host, Andrea Jimenez. Take it away, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Omar. I appreciate you. And thank you everyone for being here today. So we're going to get started with our amazing program director, and then we will follow up with another amazing faculty that we have in our program. And then we're going to hear from one of our incredible alumni and a current student and soon-to-be graduate of the program. And then we'll end off our section with Q&A and answering any questions that may come into the Q&A section. Without further ado, I'm introducing our incredible professor and program director, Serona Elton. Serona, please come on. She's going to go ahead and introduce herself, and she's going to give you a program overview.
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, everybody. So great to meet you all. So I am the director of the music industry program. My name is Professor Serona Elton. I am also a super proud alumni of the U and of this master's degree program. I took the on-campus version quite a long time ago, but it has served me really well. It's great to meet you. My background has been primarily working for major record companies. Spent many years working for a company called EMI, which is now part of the Universal Music family. And then I worked for Sony, for Universal, and then Warner Music Group. So I've kind of worked for all of the major record companies. And then several years ago, I switched from working for the record companies to work for a new organization called the Mechanical Licensing Collective. And if any of you are at all familiar with the music publishing world, you would have heard of the Mechanical Licensing Collective that collects and pays out a certain kind of royalties that are generated when music is heard on services like Spotify. And I'm also a lawyer and an author of one of the leading textbooks that are used across the country in music industry programs. So that's a super, super quick rundown about me. But more important than me, I want to talk to you about the program itself. So I have just a couple of quick slides. Don't worry, not too many, just to give you a little overview. So some quick, fast facts. So first of all, we have been doing this for quite some time. Our music industry program, undergrad and graduate, were established back in 1966, if you can believe that. So not much longer from now, we'll be hitting a big anniversary. And we started our online version of our master's degree in 2014. So here we are. It's been a decade, and what a decade it's been. Every time Billboard magazine, which is the top magazine trade publication in our field, publishes a list of top music business programs, although that list focuses on undergrad programs, we have been in that list every time it's been published. And that's something we are very, very proud of. So we are considered a top music business program in the country. And we keep in touch with our alumni because we've been around for so long. We have an amazing alumni base, and they are all members of a private LinkedIn group that has about 970 members. So we are closing in at that 1,000 mark, which makes it a great way to stay connected to members of our family and extended family once you graduate. So talking about the curriculum, courses break down into 3 buckets. The first are specifically required music industry courses that you will take. You will take 5 of these, and each of these are 3 credits. So you will take music copyright, music publishing, the recorded music ops class, which is about the record business, music industry agreement, and you will do either an internship or a project. So those are required of all students. The second bucket are courses that we call music industry electives, and you will take 2 of these, 2 3-credit courses. Some of these are music industry courses, and some of these are courses offered in our live entertainment management sister degree. So there are courses for you to consider there. And then the third bucket are general electives, and you will take 3 of these, 3-credit courses that, variety can be music industry courses, can be music, live entertainment management courses, or maybe some other courses like about content creation, and the different electives we have changes over time. So these are the courses that you're going to take to finish your 30 credits in order to earn the degree. And you will also, at the end of all of your coursework, take an online cumulative exit exam that takes questions from all those required courses and make sure that you still remember those core fundamental pieces of information we want you to take with you out into the world as you continue or embark on your career. So a little bit more about what you'll be learning in these courses and through the degree. So you will be learning a lot about music copyright, which really is at the heart of so much of how everything works in the music industry. You'll be learning about copyright as it applies to musical works, or songs, in other words, and sound recordings. You'll learn about copyright infringement, the length of protection, and how this works both in the US and abroad. You'll be learning about the music publishing industry, including music licensing and royalties and publishing agreements and song catalogs, and how songs make money for publishers and songwriters. And you'll be learning about the recorded music industry in terms of how sound recordings are created, distributed, and marketed. Those are really the core tenets of all of our courses. And through these courses, as you're doing different assignments in your courses, you'll be preparing analysis and in all kinds of different contexts, whether it's analyzing the copyright status of something or analyzing a marketing plan. You'll be doing analysis. You'll be doing some assignments that involve Excel. You'll be looking up music metadata, calculating royalties, reading legal agreements, using industry tools like something called Chartmetric that you might have heard of, which is a tool that measures music consumption. You'll be writing papers, creating online advertising campaigns, and many more things that you'll be doing throughout your coursework. So what I often get asked, what are some of the qualities that we're looking for when it comes to potential students? And what are some of the habits or traits that are really important to be successful in the program? So I would say this program is a great fit for somebody who is super passionate about the music industry, right? You don't go into this industry as a fallback or because you want something easy. It's a highly competitive industry, and you'll work really, really hard in this industry to be successful. And so you have to have that passion for music and passion for wanting to be involved in the business of music. That's the #1 requirement for this degree. But you also need a real passion for learning, a natural curiosity to want to understand, how do things work? Teach me, right? That's another critical ingredient for you to be successful in this program. You need to be detailed oriented. Details matter. As you might have heard me mention the word data a few times, data is so much more important in the music industry than ever before. And in order to really harness the power of data, you have to pay attention to the details. You will be writing some papers, right? You will be a graduate student. So you need some strong writing skills to be successful in this program. Although you probably won't write many papers once you graduate, you'll be communicating with so many people in your work life via email, and being able to write in a way that people understand and conveys your point is such a critical business skill. You're going to need to have some strong business technical skills, like being familiar with tools like Excel, for example, right? Excel is also something that you really can't get away in business without using. So understanding how to use Excel is going to be a really important skill to build up as you're in this program. There's going to be deadlines, right? There's a lot of flexibility with this program that we'll talk about, but you will still have assignments that are due on certain dates, and you will need to be tracking those deadlines, making sure that you can hit them, which is something you're going to be dealing with in your entire career as well. And the balance of your schedule is really critical, right? You're going to be balancing a personal life with family and friends. You probably are working at a job, and then you will have this to also contend with on top of that. It is completely doable. I myself, actually, when I went to law school, I worked full time and went to law school at night in person. So I really do understand what that's like to try and balance all those things. It is completely, totally doable, but it does require, being very thoughtful about how you're going to go about doing that. So some of the career paths that our alumni take, they go and work at record labels. One of our alums you're going to hear from today works at a record label. They work at music publishers. They work at collective rights management organizations that collect certain kinds of royalties and pay those out. They work at artist management companies, digital distributors, digital music services like Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon. They work for talent agencies, concert promoters like Live Nation and AEG, and concert venues. These are some examples of the kinds of companies that alumni work for, or in some cases, start their own companies after having gotten some experience on how it all works by working in one of these kinds of companies. So that's my super, super quick rundown. And a lot of this information, I will say, also is available on our music industry program website to get a sense of where some of our alumni are working. So now what I'm going to do is come out of screen share, and I'm going to actually introduce you to one of my fellow colleagues and let him tell you a little bit about himself and what courses you might run into him in the program. All right, go ahead, Guillermo, say hi.
All right, thank you, Zerona. Welcome everyone. Again, my name is Guillermo Page. I'm the Assistant Director of the Music Industry Program here at UM. I'm a double hurricane, as we call them. I have my undergrad and my master's degree from the Herbert Business School at the University of Miami, and spent a very wonderful career in the music industry working for pretty much all the majors, moving from the old BMG and then to EMI, Sony, Universal, and now I basically have my own consultant business where I work with songwriters, record labels, artists, and help them in navigate the waters of these wonderful world of the music business. In terms of the courses that I teach a couple of elective courses. One is marketing in the music business, in the music industry, where we are gonna talk about the latest advances in advertising. You're gonna learn about the concepts of marketing, how we apply those concepts in the music industry. There's a lot of hands-on experience that you're going to get through the courses. There's a set of certifications that we also add to the course that expand the reach of the course for you to learn about YouTube or learn about Google Ads, for example. So you get a lot of hands-on experience. The second course that I teach, this is another elective, is called Analysis of Advanced Topics in the Music Industry. And it's something that is at the leading edge of what's going on in the industry. So in that course, you're going to learn about AI, you're going to learn about the new trends, the new technologies, what's going on, things that we're talking right now in the industry, what's going on with Spotify, for example. Some of you may have heard what's going on with Spotify and the how they're increasing prices, and then they're changing how they pay songwriters. We're going to talk about some of those topics so you get a flavor of what the industry is all about and what type of topics are of interest for everyone involved in the industry. So we go all out on that particular course. So we try to give you a lot of information and a lot of practical tools that you can use throughout your career in the industry. And
Thank you so much.
All right.
Sorry. Fantastic. And I should also tell you that you will have me as a professor as well. I teach the music contracts course and I teach the recorded music operations course. So you will have me as a professor in those courses as well. Thank you so much, Professor Page. All right, Andrea, let me kick it back to you for you to take us to the next phase.
Thank you so much, Zerona. And thank you, Guillermo. Appreciate you both. So with that said, we're going to jump straight into one of our incredible alum, Hunter. Please go ahead and join me. And thank you again for being here with us. We truly appreciate your time. We know you're doing a lot of stuff and impacting our industry. So we're looking forward to hearing about you and exactly what you do. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, Hunter.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hunter Evans. I'm an A&R at Sony Music Entertainment. Yeah, I was in the program from 2020 to 2021.
Thank you so much for that, Hunter. We appreciate it. So can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide to pursue a graduate program like ours, our music industry, music business program? What made you decide to pursue this degree?
Yeah, I basically graduated from undergrad during the pandemic, May 2020. Came out as an IT recruiter, so not music related at all. Knew I always wanted to, get into the music industry. Wasn't sure exactly what career path, and just researched a lot of music business schools, and Ross stuck out to me simply because they were the only one with a remote program. I looked at Belmont, I looked at NYU, I looked at all these other schools, but like nothing was established at that time. And also the faculty just sounded really impressive. Like all the major labels, all the publishing companies, like you name it, everybody had some experience there. And yeah, I think the classes seemed really interesting when I was looking at what I would be studying. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Awesome. And speaking about the program, can you give us what were your favorite things about the program? What did you like most about this program and your time with us?
Yeah, I think the faculty, number one, they were always like very caring, attentive. I attended a lot of office hours, even if I didn't necessarily need to. And I think I could hit anybody on email and they'd respond quickly. So it really worked out. And then also like the assignments and the topics I got to dive into again. Like I think some of my favorite classes were music copyright law. And I got to write a paper about kind of the implications of, copyright laws changing while technology advances and its implications on artists and creators and stuff like that on the platform. And it really went hand in hand with my internship at Studio 71 while I was in the master's program, as well as like the live entertainment class. Like I got to create like a mock-up of like a festival and like dive into the logistics of, the marketing, the budgeting, sponsorships and all that stuff. So it was super fun.
Thank you for that, Hunter. Appreciate you. So when it comes to, so you spoke a little bit about having to do an internship while you were in the program, and that's literally my next question. So how did you balance what was the demands, anything outside of the program, be it your job, personal life, and the demands that it is to be a student, graduate student online? How did you manage those demands with demands of your courses and all the submissions that you had to do? And how did that look like for you? How did you manage it and balance it?
Yeah, I feel like with this program, everything is pretty much laid out. You have a calendar from your professors of what's due in the 7 weeks, right? The 7 weeks of the course. And then you also have a break in between your next course. And a lot of that also comes down to time management and prioritizing like what's most important, and whether it's assignments or classes that you just like may not understand as well as others.
Right.
I think for me, like I really spent time taking the courses and doing all the studying and stuff like that in the morning or on the weekends. And then I would do my internships full time during the week. So yeah.
Awesome. Time management. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds super familiar. So we appreciate that. And last but not least, how is it that right now you're actually using what you learned? So actively you've put into practice what it is that you gained from our program. How have you actually applied it, given everything that you learned in this degree and where you are right now in the professional music industry and those activities that you're navigating today?
Yeah. So I previously came from an A&R research background when I first started in the industry. And now I'm an A&R, and some of that falls in line with copyright, which I know Serona touched on. A lot of the records sometimes that pop up, that are viral, may be from TikTok, and they might sample some things. So like as an A&R, you're thinking of signing something, you need to make sure like if things are cleared and kind of revenue costs and stuff from there, as well as like thinking of signing artists in different territories. You also have to think about like royalty rates and, you know, different music industry agreements. So like what works best for the artist and the label or wherever you're working at, whether it's a distributor. I think the industry is definitely seeing a change from the, you know, traditional label deals, the 360 deals, and everything has been a lot more open and flexible, and it just depends on the artist that you're signing, as well as like budgets, like recording budgets, and, you know, setting up sessions for prospective artists you want to sign or artists that you're working on. You know, you need to know how much studios cost and, you know, how many artists or other musicians you want into the session, stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Hunter. Appreciate you giving us your time and the space. And again, everything you're doing is incredible. So we appreciate you. So without further ado, we are going to now hear from Russell. Russell, come on and join me. And thank you again so much for being here. I know you're also doing a lot while you're also a current student and soon to be graduate of the program, but also in your professional life as well. So I appreciate you for being here with us. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Russell Smell. I am a current student in the program. I started in the spring 2023 semester and will be graduating this upcoming August. Currently, I work as a income tracking coordinator at Sony Music Publishing in Nashville.
Thank you for that, Russell. So let's hear from your perspective, right? What is it that you can tell us about making the decision to pursue your graduate degree, and specifically with our program? What made you decide to go ahead and choose us?
Yeah, for me, I was looking for a career change. I was working in a completely different industry and knew that I really wanted to pursue a career in music. It was a lifelong passion of mine, musician for the majority of my life. And I started researching different programs, and Frost School has a great reputation. The program was super comprehensive, covered a lot of things that I wanted to learn more about. Because at that time, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do in the music industry, but I know I'd be able to figure it out when I got started. So kind of once I researched that and kind of saw some of those things, I decided to fully commit to the program.
I remember having those talks with you in the beginning, Russell. So it's so awesome to see you now, like almost towards the end, and seeing you just more certain about what you're doing. And I just full circle, love that. What have you liked most about the program, about what it is and your experiences with us? What have you liked most about this program, your favorites, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few things that I really enjoyed about it. For sure, going off what Hunter said, the faculty is great. You know, all the professors, all the support system you have, working through these classes, being able to connect with them on a weekly basis or more if necessary. It's been super flexible like that, and I've been able to gain some very great insights into the industry through them, and talking with the faculty and connecting with other classmates as well. So I love that part of it. The coursework itself has been great. Just super comprehensive, getting into all different parts of the music industry that are things that you're going to need to know no matter what path you're gonna go towards. So getting some of those backgrounds and then having assignments where you really apply what you're learning and was super helpful. I feel like kind of preparing me for where I'm at now. So that was great. And also the flexibility of the program. I was able to, you know, apply for jobs in the music industry while I was in my previous role in the construction industry. So I was taking classes, working that job, and still able to apply to other jobs and ultimately get the role that I'm at now. So the flexibility was great.
Love that, Russell. Thank you. And so what you're doing now, or what you have done, coupled with all the demands that you've had for your coursework here with us, how have you been able to balance it? What are those skills that you've either gotten better at, or you actually gained in our program? Have you been able to balance it, the demands between job, personal life, and the demands of what it is to be a graduate student with us?
Yeah. The big one was time management for sure. You know, I was out of school for quite a bit of time. So getting back into just like the school kind of schedule and being able to manage coursework, assignments, readings, things like that. It took a little getting used to at first, but also like Hunter was saying, you know what your week looks like. You have your assignments spelled out, when your deadlines are. So having that kind of asynchronous model for your classwork just allows you to figure out, when you're going to commit time to do certain things. And once you get started with that and you get used to it, it just becomes like a very normal process. You're just like, okay, I gotta, spend this amount of time today, and it just becomes kind of a normal habit. So it's been very, very manageable balancing personal work and the school workload for sure.
Love that. And last but not least, you talked about being able to apply what you've learned. So in your current role professionally, can you tell us a little bit about that? Any examples that you may have as to how have you applied what you have learned in the program and been able to practice it now in your role?
Yeah, so going back to what Serona was kind of touching on in the beginning, I mean, going into some of those like real fundamental parts of the industry where you're getting into copyright, understanding the difference between a sound recording and the underlying musical work, working for a publisher, it's crucial to know that difference. So being prepared when I got to Sony and knowing kind of those differences was extremely helpful. I felt like I had all the knowledge I kind of needed to just like jump right in and understand, songwriter splits, know how to leverage different websites to find, writer information, tracking down different metadata, which is definitely crucial. Metadata is a huge thing. Being able to know where to go to find information and be resourceful is really, really big. So I felt like this program prepared me in a lot of ways for that. And then just getting more into like some of the more nuanced concepts with licensing, sync licensing, and developing kind of skills and knowledge and kind of like a vocabulary. So when you're communicating with, internal teams or whatever, you're able to convey your point and really get your message across in a way that's effective. Where if you don't have that background, it can be a little bit more difficult because the music industry just it's just different than any other industry in that way. So yeah, I just felt like I was very prepared and didn't have to learn a whole lot in terms of like the fundamentals of getting started.
Thank you for that, Russell. That was a very comprehensive explanation. I appreciate you for that. So without further ado, stay with me, Russell. Let's invite everyone back on camera, please. And we're now coming into the Q&A. So if you haven't already done so, please jump into Q&A and ask us anything that may be on your mind. Let me look to see if there's anything at the moment, in case there could be something coming through.
While you check for that, and forgive me for some background noise, of course, they want to do road construction outside my house right now. But what I will also point out is the curriculum for our online degree is the same as the curriculum for our on-campus degree. It's the same courses authored by the same instructors, and we consider you part of the same family. We have a mailing list for current students. It's one list. It's not a separate list for online students, right? And it's funny, I was at a conference, speaking at a conference in my role as the MLC, and ran into Hunter, who was there with a fellow alumni who did our on-campus program, and they both work under the Sony umbrella. And it was just so great to see, that you guys came together and it's like you did the same degree, even though one was on campus and one was online, right? Like it doesn't matter. You're not separate and not other or less than. It is the degree. It's the same degree. So I think that's just a really important point to make. And I see Hunter nodding to that too.
Serona, so while you were giving us that information, we did get a question. I would like to know more from Victoria Cole. Thank you for that. I would like to know more about the advanced courses. I am a music licensing specialist and want to know what courses do you have that touch on this area of the industry?
Sure. So firstly, you will learn some fundamentals about music licensing from a copyright perspective in the music copyright class. The music publishing class touches on licensing. The recorded music operations class touches on licensing. The music contracts class touches on licensing. So those required courses all touch on licensing. Then there is an additional music licensing course elective that you can also take with Professor John Redmond. You can look up his bio on our site. He comes from the publishing world, but the course is about licensing, whether you're talking about the songs or the sound recordings. And then if you also take the advanced topics course with Professor Page, depending on when you take that, there might be some licensing related questions or topics that are covered in that. For example, as he was talking about the drama happening right now with Spotify, right? The National Music Publishers Association and Spotify are going at it a bit right here, because Spotify is changing the way they're trying to pay under a different type of royalty rate from their mechanical license than they did before, right? They're trying to say now what they're doing is a bundle, they should pay less money. And that's creating lots and lots of drama. And so that would be, if you get into that topic in the advanced topics course, which covers lots of different topics, talking about what's happening with Spotify and songwriters right now, that is all about music licensing. So it weaves its way through so many of our courses, but certainly our music licensing course is focused solely on music licensing. So those are the different ways that you would touch that.
Yeah. If I may add, on the advanced topics, one that we deal with is the issue with AI and the relationships and how licensing plays a role into how the industry gets into that particular area of the business. So licensing basically touches pretty much everything that we do in the business.
Thank you for that, Guillermo. And we did get one more question that came in specifically about certificates, but they want to know. Yeah, and thank you, Amanda, for your question, specifically the music clearance. I'm thinking you're talking music rights administration. And
so let me clarify, because I think I know what caused some confusion, right? So from a certificate point of view, firstly, in the marketing class, the music marketing class that Professor Page teaches, students, as part of their assignments, are also going to separately, outside of Frost Online, pursue getting some micro credentials in how to use certain platform tools, okay? Those are not certificates granted by us. Those are a separate thing that's part of an assignment. And he can run down in just a second what those are. Those are assignments that you would go and do as part of your assignment in that music marketing course. Separate from that, we have a handful of online graduate certificates that we do, like you earn the certificate from us. That's separate than the master's degree, but you can choose to pursue one of those certificates and either just stop at that certificate or decide to continue and go ahead and get the master's degree and have those 3 courses count towards the master's degree. So from a certificates perspective, there's micro credential certificates that are part of an assignment in a course that you would go and get separately. And then separately from that, we offer a handful of different online graduate certificates granted by us that you could choose to pursue perhaps instead of the master's degree. So Guillermo, you want to just run down what they get certified in your music marketing course? And then Andrea, if you want to add anything else about our online certificates, you can.
Yes, basically in both courses, in the marketing, in the music industry course and the analysis of advanced topics, the certificates that we have, those micro credentials, had to do, for example, YouTube. YouTube offers 3 certifications, or 3 micro credentials. So 2 of them you get to do in the advanced topics, and 1 of them you will do it in the marketing course. There's also the ones that we use that are related to Google Ads and learning how to use Google Ads. You may not know this, but the way to get into YouTube and advertise on YouTube is via Google Ads. So in that class, you will learn the certification. You will get the certification of the micro-credential. There are multiple of them. So we require one that is called Google Ads Search and Google Ads Video. And in the marketing, the advanced topics, you get to do Google Ads Video and Display. So there are different ones. And there's even one about AI that I suggest some students that are interested to pursue as well. Those are at no cost to you, and they're offered as part of the assignments that you have for those courses.
Right. So we don't grant them. YouTube grants them. You are
Mhm.
required to do them as your assignment.
Yes.
Right. Andrea, if you want to add anything else?
No, that was perfect. Thank you both, Serona and Guillermo. Amanda, if you have any further questions, you're welcome to email us directly and we can jump into anything that you need should you need more clarity, okay? So, and then I did have another question that came in and it may be the last one. Well, let's see what we can fit in. Rickma Williams, I would like to know how does the school support with internships? Do they usually go hand in hand with the degree, or is it something we have to apply and look into separately?
Yes. So you have to apply and get your own internship. We do not set them up for you. So and this is true for online students and our on-campus students, right? What we have is an ability for you to be earning academic credit as you do that internship. And a lot of employers will require you to be getting academic credit in order to be a part of their internship program. So you can essentially, you'll be taking, if you choose to go that route, right? If you have the time in your daily life to do an internship, and a lot of you, if you're working full-time, that's not going to be an option and you're instead going to do a project. But let's say you do want to do an internship, you will apply to companies, you will secure that internship, and then you can register for our internship course and get academic credit. So 3 credits out of your 30, right, can come from that internship. And there's some assignments that you'll complete in that internship course that are related to the work that you're doing, but you secure your own internship. Having said that, there are support tools that we provide. So some of those include our career center on campus. It's called the Topple Career Center. They support both our on-campus students and our online students. And they have things like resume review and critique. They will review your resume, give you feedback. They now have also interview practices that you can do, like a practice interview and get some, critique and feedback on that, right? They have massive internship listings, but most music industry companies don't reach out to schools. They instead post them on their own websites or on LinkedIn. But in our weekly newsletter, we often highlight an internship opportunity where a company has come to us specifically and said, hey, can you get the word out to your students that we have interns, we're hiring interns. So when companies do that, we usually highlight that in our weekly newsletter, for example. So we share information that we're told about internship opportunities, but and I post them like on our LinkedIn group all the time. I'm always like, attention intern seekers, and there's a link. Attention job seekers, here's a link. Some of our students can attest to that. So we let you know about opportunities. We have the Career Center that helps get your resume in good shape, helps get those interview skills in good shape, but you will secure your own internship. You'll find it, apply, interview, hopefully get hired, and we will provide whatever paperwork are needed to make the employer happy that you're getting academic credit for that. And you will complete some assignments related to the activities you're doing at your internship with us in order to earn that credit for that internship course.
Thank you so much for that, Serona. And we did get Courtney Fleming, and she had a question about internships as well. So you definitely answered it in your comprehensive response. Appreciate that. And then last but not least, I've heard of having from Victoria, a paralegal certificate might be beneficial in music licensing career. Is it possible alongside with this master's? Is this available at UM? So Serona, do you want to handle that one? That's
so
not
I'm really not sure. So there is no paralegal certainly thing through the Frost School.
Right.
I'll certainly invite our UOnline team to chime in if I'm wrong. I don't believe we offer like an online paralegal certificate, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe we do. In terms of how useful that is or not in music licensing, I would say, I've met a lot of people that work in music licensing, and most of them do not have paralegal certificates. A lot of what you're learning about as a paralegal are legal procedures for, lawsuits and things like that. I don't know how much what you really learn in a paralegal certificate is going to apply directly to music licensing practices. But if you have a natural curiosity because you just love everything legal, but you don't want to go to law school, but you're like, short of going to law school, I want to learn everything there possibly is to learn about everything legal and legal processes, then, certainly a paralegal certificate is not going to harm you. You have to decide if it's worth your time time and your money. But one of the things you could do is just take a look on like LinkedIn jobs, look for music licensing and scan them all and see when they talk about requirements, how many of them really mention that they're looking for somebody that has a paralegal certificate as either a requirement or an ideal candidate. That would give you a good sense of how much that's really playing a role these days in jobs in music licensing.
Thank you for that, Serona. Omar, go ahead and take us out. I know we're at time.
Yeah, and just real quick, we do offer a paralegal certificate through DCIE, for any students that might be interested.
Thank you for adding that in, but that would be a separate thing to the master's. And unfortunately, because they're not like a joint degree or something like that, you're not going to be double counting classes. You'd be taking your 30 classes in the master's degree and then whatever separately you'd need to do for the paralegal. But what you might consider is a paralegal certificate combined with, like, we have a online certificate, graduate certificate in, I'm going to screw up the name, but it's like music licensing and legal matters or something like that. But point being, those two things combined might perhaps be more interesting to you than the master's degree with or without the paralegal. So something to consider. And you could talk that through with an admissions specialist.
Thank you. All right, everyone. So as you see, we have many different resources to keep students connected. And as Professor Elton was mentioning about the Top of Career Center for the professional needs of our students. And we have other resources as well. So we try to help students in a lot of different ways. And of course, you're always welcome to speak to one of us enrollment advisors. If we don't have the answer, we're more than happy to, find the answer for you, the person who can assist you best. And thinking about applying to the program, just the different types of materials you might need. So, your transcripts, resume, 2 letters of recommendation. When it comes to financial aid, just thinking about how you want to fund your program, those conversations can get a little bit more intricate. So, we encourage you to speak to one of us enrollment advisors. We're more than happy to break down how everything goes. You'll see personal statement there as well. And of course, submitting your online application. And with that in mind, in regards to getting everything submitted, we do have an early admissions deadline of July 8th, and we really encourage everyone to get their completed file to us by that time to secure a spot. And as an incentive, we have this really cool opportunity for students to get the $300 deposit fee waived in addition to a 50% tuition waiver for the program. And again, that early admission deadline is Monday, July 8th. Any questions, anything you might have in regards to the process, you're more than free to reach out to our number. We also have a chat as well. And if you're ready to go with the application, we have a QR code down there as well. And before we go, I did want to take a moment just to thank all of our wonderful panelists today. A lot of awesome information today. And for you folks out there, we hope to see you soon as a future Kane. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.